Hi guys, so this is my video of meeting with my building principal to talk about the 5 R's and how as a building we met that, and talk about mostly just my principal and what we do in our building. So we are actually in transitions of principals, and so I had to decide if I wanted to meet with my building principal currently or do I want to meet with my future one, and I thought it was best to meet with my one that I have a relationship with, but in the future I plan to meet and sit down with my future building principal, which is something my building principal and I talked about. I was actually at camp this past week, and so and then the week before that my principal was on vacation, and so just because of timing we couldn't meet until this morning, and so we met for breakfast, and it was actually good because I haven't seen him since the last day of school, and so since he's leaving, it was nice to just sit down and talk and then get to this assignment. So as a building, we both felt that we do really well with the 5 R's. There are just a few that we need to work on to incorporate with the standards. But overall, like, my principal is very much like the charismatic leadership style. He's very much like looking for improvement, encouraging others, very motivational, helps us to do the best that we can do. So with our building though, the first R that we talked about was relationships, and we felt that overall, like, establishing connections with the students, the staff, the families, and the community, that we all did really well. Like, as a whole, if you're from the community, obviously, which majority of our teachers are, you obviously already have that connection. But there are a few of us that aren't from the community that struggle just a little bit more. But overall, like, just looking at the district as a whole, we do really well with the communication and establishing the connections. And the longer that you're there, the more you can establish those connections and relationships. The relevance, so meeting the needs of the learners through communication, instruction, student engagement, and technology. This was something that we felt, my building principal and I, that the district needed to work on, which is more incorporating new technology, which is one of the standards I talked about, which is standard 4E, and this is where we promote the new technology to improve our learning and improve our students' learning. But overall, student engagement would come with the new technology because most students thrive on the technology side of it, and being the technology teacher, I definitely agree that we need to improve that. Responsive culture, so this provides, if staff or students have a positive reaction to suggestions that we have on improvement, and this improvement can come from, like, leadership or the district culture, the nutrition and wellness. And so we actually just improved our wellness last year. We had a new menu come in and everything, but overall, like, our leadership comes from, if we take constructive criticism well, and overall my building principal and I thought that staff does, and he obviously sees all the staff and gives them all improvement, and he felt that most teachers do respond really well to, like, the improvement that we do need to have, which again falls back onto the resources that we may or may not have, which brings me to my next one, rigor, which is the 4th R. And we don't, being a small school, we don't have the necessary resources to give to our students. And being on the teacher side of it, we talked about this, that even though teachers ask for things, we don't always get it, and it is very much in the student's interest to get what we need to improve our student learning, which is another standard that we talked about, which is place children at the center of the education and the focus for us teachers. And so as a building, we have to accept that whenever our students aren't successful because they weren't exposed or they weren't being taught certain things in the classroom, we have to fall back and rethink what were we doing wrong, which kind of falls back on our resources, especially technology. So that was standard 2C. That we need to put our children first, and if that means we need to pay a little bit more to get the better resource, then we should pay a little bit more to get the better resource. The last is results, and this is evidence of growth and learning in the classroom, and using, the social emotional factors, school graduation, post-secondary, taking that data, seeing it. Overall, in my classroom, I'm the only, career person in the building. And so well, besides the counselor, but we obviously do things like that in my class, but the counselor mostly like calls the students and says, oh, like, what are you doing, collects the data for post-secondary, and then like school graduation. We have a pretty high rate. I do believe my principal said it was like 97%. It was like 97.3% a graduation rate. But overall, like, we do really well with the results and what we're doing. So what we're doing works, but I think there are areas that we need to improve on, especially on the technical side of it. And then my last thing that I thought that we could improve on as a district was focusing more on like fun and engagement in the classroom, and like being school wide. So there are times that like a teacher has a really good idea just doing their classroom, but overall I think the building needs to incorporate more like fun learning and reasons for the students to want to come to school rather than, oh, we're doing something fun in this specific classroom. So what I mean by that is like incorporating more things like courtrooming week. You know, courtrooming week is something that all students look forward to because it's dress up days and it's courtrooming. But if we did things like countdown to, you know, summer break or countdown to Christmas break, like just countdown to breaks where students could dress up, or we did trivia, it would help with what students coming to school and even staff wanting to come to school. So anyway, those are the things I thought my building and I thought we needed to work on. But yep, that would be all. So thanks, guys.